in the last live stream, I was talking about the war from the U.S. government and its various three-letter agencies against cryptocurrency. And since that live stream, and again, today was supposed to be about advocacy, and that's what we're going to talk about primarily. But since that live stream, more has come, and you've probably already heard about it. Bitcoin Jesus here, Roger Ver, arrested in Spain over the weekend for tax evasion charges here in the U.S. Despite what the DOJ has put out here, I mean, Ver renounced his U.S. citizenship back in 2014. As far as I know, he still owns the two companies that are U.S.-based corporations, and supposedly he did underreported Bitcoin sales during the course of, I think it was 2017 or something like that, where he made sales. I mean, they basically tracked it on the blockchain. So again, you know, you need to consider your privacy with regard to whatever cryptocurrency you're using. And I'm not saying that for any kind of evasion purposes, but because pay your freaking taxes so you don't have to deal with this shit. But like, I don't know. I just find the timing suspicious on this arrest, given, you know, he just came out with this book, Hijacking Bitcoin. He's more than outspoken about the U.S. involvement in various proxy wars around the globe. And now all of a sudden, oh, guess what? You evaded taxes, so now we're coming after you. Over the weekend, I was watching Brian from Tiny Crypto Blog this weekend, and it really hit me. I like Brian. I think he has a very unique perspective on things, especially Bitcoin related. And it's nice to chat with him when I get the opportunity to do that, or when we are able to collab and put together a video or whatever. Always great when he joins on Crypto on the Rocks. So, but I came across this and I wanted to highlight this because, you know, here's a guy, in my opinion, who is well versed in this, who literally is listening to podcasts and into this every day, kind of like me. And to me, you know, it's like all of a sudden the enormity of our national debt seemed to catch him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this, if it couldn't take this intelligent a guy by surprise, potentially, and again, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but that's what I get from the video. I can't even imagine what it does to everybody else that who is just trying to get by, you know, keep the roof over the head, food on the table, and try to survive in this super high inflation. And we ain't seen nothing yet with regard to that. Inflation is theft. That's it. That's inflation is theft. Robert Breedlove loves to say that. Anyway, and he's right. He's 1,000% right. Today, we're going to be talking about how crypto has become, and in my opinion, will continue to be, a topic of conversation and a point of influence with regard to the elections in 2024. And I mean, we've already started seeing it, not only through different actions and so on in the cryptocurrency space, such as the enforcement actions I mentioned. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let me bring up, I did a quick rundown of about the last 6 months, because if I were to go back to all of the enforcement action over, let's say, even just the last 3 years, or, you know, in the cryptocurrency space, we'd be here just going through that. So let me bring this up and let's just kind of flip through it real quick before I get into what I have set here for today. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me just bring that up full screen and get my head out of the way there. And what I'm doing is I'm going to show you some of the thumbnails that I put together for the lives. Now, this is just live streams that I did with regard to the actions that are being taken by various three-letter agencies here in the US against the cryptocurrency space. This first slide was about 6 months ago. I put it out when the SEC sued Kraken, and the DOJ had just settled with Binance and CZ and all that kind of stuff. And again, very important actions in the space, and they are, again, SEC under the jurisdiction of Elizabeth Warren, DOJ under the jurisdiction of the FJB administration. And no way you're telling me that they weren't following someone's lead and or direction. So anyway, again, I started there, and then right after that, remember, Elizabeth Warren put together her anti-crypto bill that basically would end up being a backdoor ban on cryptocurrency here in the US that was written by the Banking Association. And its co-sponsor, if you recall, during a fundraiser, he was saying he was basically reading some talking points about the bill. And you could tell just from the way he was talking, I mean, because that information is all out there. That's public information at this point. I believe it was the Digital Chamber of Commerce that ended up putting that information out. And at the end, he said, and that's all I know. Well, of course, that's all you know, because you don't know shit. But anyway, written by the Banking Association, and Warren puts out her anti-crypto bill. Then again, like we were talking about with regard to your privacy, my privacy being under attack, Binance ends up delisting Monero. And I also talked about how a lot of apps, and there's an increasing number of apps, and I highlighted some comments from Jameson Lopp from CASA, who were where we were talking about the increasing number of apps and sites blocking VPNs. Why is that? VPNs to help you maintain your privacy. Then what honestly was a more positive live stream for me was when John Deaton decided he was going to run against Elizabeth Warren and challenge her for her Senate seat in Massachusetts. And then, shortly after that, Warren was doing a fundraiser with some of her cronies, and they were basically slinging all kinds of mud at Deaton, picking on his book, Food Stamp Warrior, basically, saying he just considers himself a tough guy. He's a crypto bro, blah, blah, blah. And if you've read the book, you understand that that's not the case. But, all right. So then this next one was the SEC wanting $2 billion from Ripple, if you recall, $2 billion. Yeah, because why not? I'll just pay the SEC $2 billion because And then in this one, I tried to highlight the fact that we've got both sides of the coin, as I put here, with regard to support for cryptocurrency and good cryptocurrency legislation in Congress and the Senate. The game, because ultimately that's what it is, right? The game is rigged against us on both sides. Because right here, I just showed you, how they sit there and slow down trend, and that's what they want. That is what they want. They are controlling it. They are manipulating it by you got the SEC chair coming out talking against it. You've got people on CNBC, not CNBC. Yeah, is it CNBC? I don't know. One of those coming out talking against it, how this is just degenerate gambling. They're touting out former CFTC people, former SEC directors. Oh my God, this isn't investing, blah, 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 blah. And they're trying to salvage their Wall Street cronies by pulling the buy buttons and halting trading and so on and so forth. And now, like I just showed you, and obviously to some success, manipulating the flow of information on things like Reddit. So why this coordinated effort? Why? Some people are in the pockets of other people. Just saying, facts are what they are. I've done a lot of live streams talking about Elizabeth Warren, the anti-crypto army, her anti-crypto bills, and all this other bullshit and negativity and just pushback and FUD we've seen against Bitcoin cryptocurrency. I mean, it's been a litany of things in the U.S. and not for nothing, Gary Gensler in the driver's seat for a lot of that. But it wasn't just him. I mean, things backed up with the Department of Justice. I mean, if I were to list everything here, this live stream, which is already 20 minutes long, would be 2 hours long. So you guys know, and not for nothing, you can go ahead and look all that stuff up. This past week, we saw what I consider to be a change in momentum, a change in the direction of our elected representatives. And I did an entire live stream, what was it, a week ago, I think, about asking, and a lot of you guys were on that live stream, and I was saying, is crypto going to be a political topic? Is it going to be a point that people are going to vote about in 2024? And my contention is, or was at the time, absolutely. And as you're going to see by the end of this live stream, I think that's even more true, because I think that the congressmen and senators in Washington, D.C. are finally realizing that, we've got a voting block of about 50 million people in the U.S. And again, I know I'm talking pretty much U.S. centric. I know I got people from outside the U.S. in this stream, so please bear with me. But now they're realizing that, this 50 million and growing voter block thinks that this is a really pressing issue. It's about garnering enough support to get common sense cryptocurrency regulations in place. Now, I'm going to just start out by saying, these politicians, mostly Democrats, who are changing their tune and starting to support these things, have seen the handwriting on the wall. I mean, cryptocurrency is going to be a political topic in 2024's elections here in the United States. Just is. Don't care how you slice it, don't care how you dice it, it is going to be. And they're seeing that handwriting on the wall. And we're on the 1 minute for Ethereum. People selling off and taking some profits, I'm going to guess. So let's zip over to what the big news of the day, right? The Ethereum ETF approvals. I'll bring that on up. SEC approves 8 Ethereum ETFs, including BlackRock and Fidelity, even though those two, as I understand, were not the ones who the deadline was in on. I think thought it was Van Eck. But basically right here, the SEC approved 8 spot Ethereum ETFs in an omnibus order, confirming a last-minute scramble to get them through. The SEC approved 19 B4 forms for the ETFs from BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, Bitwise, Van Eck, ARK, Invesco Galaxy, and Franklin Templeton. I started off with the whole patriotic thing. Again, Memorial Day, little remembering what you should be remembering with regard to that and the sacrifices that have been made. But I came across this on Twitter, and I want to show you this. Basically, it looks like it was a kid's baseball game. I'm thinking in Texas is where this happened, but it doesn't say in the tweet that we're about to look at. But basically, they told the crowd, no, we're not going to do the national anthem. So the crowd decided they were going to do the national anthem. And what I love about this, both teams walked off the field because obviously that's what they were told to do when no national anthem. But one team walked back and stood there while the crowd sang. And I'll tell you what, props for them. So let me bring that up really quick. And let's give it the due it needs to watch it right now. I'll bring it up full screen.
I'll be playing the national anthem. Let's play ball.
And there goes the team back out there. Good for them. That was fitting. I came across that, like I said, has absolutely nothing to do with crypto, but it does have to do with all this bullshit that we see every day going around this country that just needs to fucking end. In my opinion, ever increasing adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Now, a lot of what we're going to talk about today is surrounding Bitcoin, and that's why I kind of separate it to some degree. And frankly, if you talk to Bitcoin Maxi, they will always separate it because they think everything else beside Bitcoin is a shit coin. And I'm sorry, I don't share that. If you do, well, don't listen to me. I don't give a crap. But the point is, I think that this entire space has room to grow. And that growth is starting to expand to all kinds of levels. And we're going to look at it from the sovereign level. So like sovereign countries, governments, that kind of thing. We're going to look at it from the US election perspective. Again, I've done an entire live stream. And then we're going to look at it from company perspective. So companies that are actually investing, putting Bitcoin in these cases on their balance sheets. All of the majority, the lion's share of the live streams that I've done so far have been talking about, in my opinion, like I titled this one, the tide is turning positive. And it is turning positive for cryptocurrency, in my opinion. I mean, we went through a rough patch, which wasn't all that long ago, over like the last 3 or 4 weeks, where it was just like one thing after another that the FJB administration was just pummeling the cryptocurrency space. A lot of these live streams lately, that's what I trying to show the turning tide with the bills that have come through Congress, been passed through the Senate, and which were, like, for example, the first one, which was originally Biden said, I'll veto that, blah, 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 blah. And now he's sending delegations to El Salvador to kiss Bukele's ass.